Welcome to part 2 of 2 of my annual bike check. This is Gary, my Wabi Special. Very near and dear to my heart. To find out what makes Wabis so special, be sure to check them out, linked in the description because they sponsor this video, and the only bikes that I ride are Wabis. So, in my other bike check with my Wabi Thunder, that was more like my errand bike, my do-everything kind of bike. The Wabi Thunder is like my SUV. This is like my classic sports car. I am never getting rid of this bike. It is so dang special and near and dear to my heart because I pitched this idea to Wabi years ago of making a purple special with chrome lugs. And the reasoning behind it is that most bike companies don't even make steel bikes anymore. Most bike companies that are still making steel bikes aren't doing it with lugs. They're doing it with TIG welds because it's cheaper. And so, to highlight that special fact that the Wabi Special still made the old way of a lugged construction, why not commemorate that and how special that fact is with chrome lugs, just like how bikes used to be made. The classic bikes, the collectible bikes that people still covet, that people pay top dollar for, that are still rideable today, because steel is an everlasting material as long as you don't crash it. So why not make it a true work of art with the chrome lugs? And to my surprise, Wabi said, yeah, let's do it. And if you're one of the 50 or so lucky people that was able to grab one of these, that's it. There aren't going to be any more, most likely, which is why I'm never going to get rid of Gary, my Wabi Special. There probably aren't going to be any more of the special Wabi Specials, making them super collectible. So if you have one, hold on to it. Because Wabi and I quickly learned that it's very hard to get lugs chrome. There's two ways to chrome lugs. Number one is dipping your metal parts into a bath where molecules stick to the metal and it becomes chrome. But because Wabi's factory is located in Taiwan, where they actually give a damn about the environment, they said, hey, that's illegal now, don't do that. Because it produces very toxic chemicals that are bad for people's health and the environment and everybody. And the second way to get chrome lugs is to hand polish them. The problem is that because this is such an old style of doing things, like because bikes haven't been made with lugs, let alone chrome lugs, for probably like 4 or 5 decades now, all the people that know how to chrome lugs have retired. So the remaining people in the bike industry that are still making these things had to figure it out on their own. And it was a lot of back and forth between Wabi and the factory to get it just right. It's a labor of love, and because it required so much love and attention to detail, there probably aren't going to be another run of these. The saying that they don't make things the way they used to is definitely true when it comes to bikes. And the special Wabi Special with the chrome lugs, it's a dying breed, and you're probably not going to be able to get something like this unless you want to go custom. Other than the lugs, and admittedly that is a huge deal to me, the other thing I like about the Wabi Special is that it rides super smoothly, super responsively, and it's the most fun bike that I've ever ridden. It's made out of heat-treated chromoly, Reynolds 725 tubing that is made in the UK, and it's brazed together by a guy that I met in Taiwan. The geometry of it is somewhere between road and track, meaning that it's like more aggressive than a road bike, but not as aggressive as a track bike. It steers really nimbly, and basically you just think of a direction and the bike is already taking you there. I love the geometry on this thing. And the fact that it has features like double bottle bosses and clearance up to 32C tires is just the cherry on top. So on both of my bikes now, I just permanently keep on a front rack because the Wabi Special doesn't have any eyelets for mounts for a rack. This is a Simworks Obento rack that just attaches with P-clamps, so you could just clamp it onto the fork if your fork is skinny enough. And then I have a Wald 137 racer basket on top that is just attached with some New Bombs cotton tape for extra clean points, because it looks nicer than zip ties. I was in a mood, I put it on like that. And on top is a PDW cargo net. This is actually reflective material, so adds to a little bit of safety. And inside the basket, I have just my pump and my tools, just in case anything goes wrong out on the road. I'd rather not have to call anybody if I need help. And then for my light mounts, I have a PDW outpost mount that just bolts on to the wires of the basket so that the light isn't getting blocked by the load up front. And what I really like about this Wald 139 racer basket, I think it was originally designed by Rivendell. It is just so practical for drop bars because I have a slammed stem, but there's still plenty of clearance for my hands when I'm on the tops that I'm not like sticking my fingers inside the basket. And then my handlebars are my favorite handlebars in the world. They are Nitto Noodle handlebars, 48 centimeters wide to accommodate the basket so that I still have some finger clearance in the drops. And they are 26.0 heat-treated aluminum for extra stiffness with the smaller clamp diameter. And I'm actually a huge fan of 26.0, so I am sad that it is kind of going out of fashion. But for the accessories, I've got my Wahoo on just some Amazon Wahoo mount. I could also put the light there if I want. It just bolts right into the stem. Haven't had any issues with it, it's been solid. And I had to go with this mount because I found that a top cap mount is quite ugly, especially on my negative 17 degree stem that is slammed. And so the only out front mount that exists without a shim is this one, because I find the shims quite ugly, at least for a 26.0, because the whole bike industry just assumes that everybody's riding 31.8. Even though 26.0 I find much more comfortable. I have a spur cycle made in the USA bell. It was anodized pink or purple or something, and it's faded. It is super loud for how tiny of a bell it is, gives a nice pure tone. And I actually do notice a difference between like the quality of bell that I have and whether people are actually able to react to me in time or whether I'm going to spook them. Like that PDW spacer bell that I have, kind of dull, but this one, this spur cycle bell, people turn around immediately. It's like kind of piercingly loud, not in a way that it hurts your ears, but it kind of cuts through any road noise, any trail noise, and people are able to recognize, hey, that's a bell, I need to get the heck out of the way. The stem is a Nitto UI-86BX in 90 millimeters. This is actually maybe a tad too long with how wide my handlebars are. I could go down to an 80 to better fit it. I am reaching a little bit. It hasn't been a problem. I'm still able to ride without pain or anything. It just, I think it'd be a little bit more comfortable if it was like 10 millimeters shorter. Made in Japan, super nice anodization that hasn't faded at all in the years that I've had this thing. I've had it for maybe 3 years now. So super nice condition. That's what you pay for when you're getting that nice like Japanese made stuff. Like the finish, still inky black, no matter how much it's been exposed to the sun. And I went with the black because I like how it contrasts with the silver on my lugs. It just makes it a bit more modern, and it's kind of my thing. I like things to look classic yet modern. My bars are wrapped in New Balm's cotton cloth tape. I really like how thin this tape is, and I like the texture of it. I just hate how it fades. I've had this on for a month, and I've put 2 coats of shellac on it, and this is what it looks like now. It's kind of brown and gray and gross. The bars are ended with some Nitto bar end plugs. These are probably the nicest bar end plugs that money can buy. I do want to note that with the shellacked bar tape, I put 2 coats on this one. It is a bit sandpapery. It may get rubbed down with time and become more comfortable. I'll keep trying it out, but right now it still feels like it needs to be broken in because the texture is quite rough. But overall, not been super happy with the results of shellacking, so I might just change out bar tape in the near future. But speaking of things not staying black or staying black, another thing that has stayed black is my Paul Tall and Handsome Seatpost. I got this because I run a Brooks saddle, a leather one, which has shorter rails, and this has enough setback for me to get a proper fit on it. And again, the Tall and Handsome Seatpost, it's expensive, but this thing has been out in the sun for probably like, in the California sun, mind you, like 3 years now, and it's still just as black as the day I bought it, just super inky black. New bombs! And this is my trusty Brooks Swift saddle. I've had this for about 6.5 years now. I've put maybe 12 or 13,000 miles on it. It has treated me supremely well. It is super comfortable and is broken in a lot. Like, you could pretty much see my entire undercarriage anatomy just by how broken in this thing is. And I have had to tension up the bolts on the underside quite a bit. I still have a little bit of bolt left, so probably a few more years until I have to get a new saddle. But this thing has been through hell and back. It has held up very well. It's even broken in. Like, the patina on it is super nice. And these rivets, like, my butt has pounded on them so much that I've actually like flattened out the rivets, and I've had to re-hammer them down twice now. Like, my butt has just flattened them out until they look like pennies, and then I had to re-hammer them. But overall, it's holding up pretty well. I've got a rivet that looks like it's popping over here. Can't really complain after about 12,000 miles. This is one of my favorite new things on my bike. So these are the Velo Orange Mojave cages. They can hold the clean canteen, 1 liter or 1 point whatever liter. These are 1 liter Nalgene's, and it holds it perfectly fine. Like, it is so hot in frickin' Sacramento. Look, I'm just standing here and talking. I am drenched in sweat. It is necessary for me to have 2 liters of water. I do not know how I ever rode my bike without 2 liters of water, because even in just like an hour-and-a-half afternoon ride, I will empty out these and refill them and drink them again. It is so freaking hot. So these are actually like a game changer for me. Nalgene bottles made in the USA, super reliable. The pedal setup is new too. So these are Velo Orange Sabot pedals. These are probably one of the nicest like platform style pedals that you could get. They're super silky smooth. They're made out of metal. I actually scuffed them on a curb the other day right here. And they just look super sick, really grippy and confidence inspiring for just riding in regular shoes. And then I have hold fast straps. I got the floral pattern just to add a little flavor to my bike, because bikes don't have to be so serious all the time. Like, this says I take my bike seriously, but not the kind of seriously where I look like I just got off of a spaceship wearing all the spandex. It's fine if you do, it's just not really my vibe. I used to ride on toe clips and straps for most of my fixed gear riding career, but I recently moved over to the strap setup because I find it a tad bit more comfortable and it doesn't scuff up my shoes, which is a huge plus. And in my review of the straps, of the holdfast straps, I said that they were kind of hard to get in, that there's a pretty steep learning curve, even if you are coming from toe clips and straps. But I don't know why, after 4 months of riding them, I could just get into them pretty dang easily now, except when I'm trying to do it on camera. But it's not really been an issue for me. Of course, I can't do it now that it's on camera. There you go. So even in this floppier one, it's just about the technique, really. There you go. For the drivetrain, I have Sugino 75s. They are the nicest looking and the nicest riding cranks that I have ever tried. I bought these from my buddy Hal. He's the owner of Faith Gear. I got them like 3 years ago. No, 4 years ago now. Geez, I'm getting old. And so this was before like the huge bike part inflation. I got these for 250 bucks for the arms. I don't know what they are now. It's probably something a lot more than that. And then the chain ring is a 47 tooth Alter Shark chain ring. And my buddy Hal is friends with the owner of Alter, so they were able to hook it up for me so I could represent them. Been super happy with the chain ring. I particularly like that hard anodized bronze look. It's very unique, and particularly on my build, because I like running skin wall tires, I really like how these 3 circles of like tan, brown kind of pop off each other. It's a really nice little accent. Oh, I gotta show you the Fixie points, Reynolds 725 sticker. Those are expensive stickers if you want the official one. And for my cog, I'm running a 20-tooth White Industries. So the White Industries cogs pair with the White Industries hubs. They are splined. They are not threaded. You, instead of threading it on like this, you just stick it on and then tighten down the lock ring. It's genius. No stripped hubs, no broken chain whips. It completely eliminates the chain whip, which is the worst part of working on a fixed gear. It is stupid that that is still standard. This should be standard. This splined interface, you can always get the cog off. There's no issues, no tools. And then also have a White Industries lock ring. Also a good lock ring. The chain is an NJS DID Racing Pro stainless steel chain. And a lot of people really like Izumi Super Toughnesses. I've used maybe 2 or 3 Izumi Super Toughnesses, and I've never gotten good results with them. Like, the Super Toughnesses just rust like nobody's business. If you put a cup of water next to a Super Toughness, it'll rust. Of course, I'm exaggerating, but I've even used the anti-rust Izumi Super Toughness, and it still rusts. And the reason I'm so into rust-resistant chains is because I was really looking for one for the Chain Gang bracelet, which is available now at zachgallardo.com/merch. World's first NJS stamped accessory. And in my testing, where I would dunk different rust-resistant chains into salt water, dry it off, and dunk it again repeatedly, the only one that was to my satisfaction when it comes to rust resistance, because of, you know, like sweat, the salt and the sweat, was the DID stainless steel Racing Pro chain. Yeah, you don't get the Fixie points from the black and gold of the Izumi, but at least I can ride my bike and not have it get rusty. These are White Industries hubs, made in Petaluma, California. It's about a 2-hour drive from where I am. I like supporting local where I can. And the main reason I got the hubs is because of that splined interface. And they also just look pretty sick with the gold track nuts. Mine have faded. My wheels, my rims, are Velocity A23s. Just a really solid all-rounder rim made in the USA. It just does everything pretty well. No complaints there. And then the spokes are Simworks spokes. I believe they're called Peregrine spokes or something. Made in Japan. They are like this champagne bronzy color. If my camera could focus on it. Just add a nice little accent without going too overboard. And then the wheels are built by Andron at Velotrap. The most solidly built wheels that I've ever ridden. I've ridden a few thousand miles on them. I only had to get the rear trued once, and even then it was just like a slight, very slight little wobble in the rear. For the tires, I'm running Panaracer Gravel King Slicks. These are just a very good all-rounder tire. Great for on-road, great for off-road. Still reasonably fast. Really comfortable. Look sick in the tan wall. And my only complaint with them is that the tread doesn't last super long. I'm not like a heavy skidder, but the tread is starting to get smoothed out. You can still see the dot, which means that there's still life in the tire. So pretty happy with that. Gravel King slicks are probably going to be my go-to tire because they're not super expensive and they do everything. I've been riding the Wabi Special for the past 6 years now, just because it's the most fun I've had on a bike. Like, this is it. And out of Wabi Specials, I've had the yellow one that I named Wallace, the sparkly purple one, which is also a collaboration with Wabi, called Pete, and now the chrome lugged purple one called Gary. And this is my end game one. Like, I don't need any more Wabi Specials. And a lot of you guys, when I run into you in person, you guys frequently ask me, like, so like, real talk, away from the camera, real opinion, what are your thoughts on Wabi? And my real thoughts is that I like them enough to only ride them. Like, my thoughts on camera are the same as my thoughts off of camera. And it's true. The Wabi Special is my favorite bike ever. And this is my endgame Wabi Special. And if you're interested in getting one yourself, be sure to check out Wabi Cycles, linked in the description. Fixie famous shoutouts to David K, Salvador Lombroso, Julian Corona, Brandon Black, Brent David, Mohr, Perez, and Onchi for helping to make these fixed gear videos possible through their support on Patreon. Remember that life is short, but don't make it shorter, so be sure to ride your bike every day to be reasonably dangerous.